Welcome back to the Incredible Conversations podcast. This week, we are having a minimal podcast. We're talking about what is to be expected in 2023 from me, the big change that I am bringing to the podcast for this year and moving forward, as well as what to expect, why this is happening, why this is changing, shifting with the tides. And we'll go over reflections as well as some basic beginning of the year astrology that may give you some big, deep sighs and breath of reliefs because you might not be driving with the must be prepared for the year, organized, structured already. You might be feeling like you're behind or like you need more time. And if you're feeling like that, completely okay and permission to feel like that because of the astrology, which is the tool that I use. I never push astrology on anyone because it is up to you to find out what tool works best for your mind, for your heart, for your soul. And if you resonate with the astrology, beautiful. I love it. And if you are part of the newsletter, you can go sign up on my website. But if you are not, you will not have heard this. But if you're in the newsletter, you already got a taste of what's to come. And then we're going to finish off with a meditation. I will guide you through an imagery or vision, and we are going to look towards the identity that we seek, the passions that we get to invoke, and what tasks, what actions, what habits get to be put into place in order to get there. Of course, there are other bits and pieces of the map that are great starting points. Looking at the biological emotions that we all have, the main four: love, anger, jealousy, and fear. Getting to the bottom of those, looking back on past memories, witnessing where these memories come up in the body and like what you are seeing in your mind, what moments in your life from childhood, and really witnessing, well, what was working for me then, and maybe I've just gotten so far away from that if I brought that back in, perhaps that could excel me forward without needing to bypass anything, yet witnessing each emotion, each experience for what it is. Being, being a human being, living through it, accepting it fully, welcoming it in with a hug, not pushing it away, not resisting it. So that is what we're going to be going through today. So, the big change that I'm bringing to the show is that I'm changing the name of the podcast. I am changing the name from the cute and sweet Incredible Conversations to the Isabelle Wellman podcast. Yes, just my name, simple, easy, and professional. So maybe you'll take this upon yourself, but I learned this from one of my astrology mentors, or I got the idea from her, and I really love this idea, this concept. But I've been working with using a word of the year. And last year, my words, I had two, were exposure and organization. And I really feel like I became better, more aware with systems and organizing my life and understanding how to structure a online business, as well as getting more exposure, seeing more people in the world, meeting new people. Being able to model for the North Face was a really big deal. Starting my personal training business in Reno, getting my first in-person client, and my new online clients that are so in alignment with where I want to go as a trainer. And I foresee myself taking on some sort of education in a bigger mass this year as well. I'm still making sure I meditate on that and get the answer I need from myself to move forward in that direction, but that is on the horizon. So I'm changing the podcast because my word of the year for this year, there are two. I'm still working on exposure and organization. However, this year, my words are professionalism and playfulness. Last year, I spent so much time worried, frustrated, and just all over the place with my nervous system about money, making everything about money. And yes, I had free offerings and I gave away a lot and all these things, but everything I did, the end goal was money. And it was not to be of service, it was to have more money. And so I'm really working on letting go of this mind frame so that I can shift away and get back to passion, get back to service, get back to doing what I love because that's what I love to do, which is teaching people how to have a healthy body, a healthy mindset, a healthy connection with their muscles, with their appearance, with how you move in the world, with how to fuel yourself. What is truthful out in the world? What is false and fear mongering bullshit in the world? And I really want to harness stronger stances on what I believe and how I share it. Because no one likes someone, I don't like someone who is in both waters. I don't want to see someone who's in both waters. The people that I follow on social media, they're in one water. They are fully in the cold plunge. They are nose deep and they are thriving in the sense of sticking to their beliefs. And if I live that way, but I'm afraid to convey the way that I live, the way that I think and speak and communicate with my partner, who is the safest person to me, wow, like that is still me being afraid, having this barrier with the outside external world of fear of judgment, that I won't be accepted, that I will be kicked out of the herd. But baby, I don't even want to be a part of the pack. There's a different pack I want to be a part of, an awakened, divine, truthful, heart centered, soul aligned new narrative that is really coming in strong and bridging the way to where we want to be, I believe, as a society, which is away from fear, away from collective stress. Because since 2020, since all this craziness has been going on, it has been so much fear, so much anxiety, so much stress. How long can we hold this? No matter how many people are online, like me, teaching you, showing you how to overcome this, what to do instead. And I still battle internally this. I want to appear online and share and give my knowledge and my perspective, my opinion for the people who resonate with me and my teachings, my energy. Yet, how can I be more than just one other person preaching a similar tune in my own way and make a bigger difference? I want it to be not that they're any different, they're all one and the same, but to be more expansive and in new ways. So, professionalism is key, showing up, treating myself and conveying myself like as a woman, a strong, powerful, know where I'm going woman, and not letting myself look or be seen or conveyed as naive or less than or unworthy or at like a cute girl. Oh, that cute, sweet girl. If I hear someone call me a cute and sweet girl one more time, Lord have mercy, I'm gonna lose my shit. I don't want that to happen again. I want to be seen as a confident and knows herself kind of a woman, powerful, at ease, peace. I have my things sorted, organized. Not that I am perfect, but that I have my life balanced in a way that helps me move without getting lost in my thoughts. Because I know how to use my body to get out of my mind and back into my body in the real world. Because we all know, and if you don't, this belief that I'm about to share with you that I have, the realistic world, the mystical world, they are the same. Because, I mean, if you were quote unquote walking the path towards enlightenment, well, one isn't more important than the other. And what is enlightenment other than just accepting everything as it is, exactly how it is? Your feelings, your personalities, your multifaceted self that is ever changing. Can we not remember that change is the constant variable? And that is, I feel so passionate about this. Maybe it's Capricorn season, but yeah, I really invite you to find a word. I like to have two because I'm just that kind of intense person. My other word being playful. I want to get outside more. I want to have more fun. I'm a double Leo for crying out loud. I've spent so much time worried and consumed by wanting to make money last year. I forgot how to have fun. I forgot how to give myself permission to go outside, to ride a bike, to go for a run, to go for a hike with the dogs because I can, because I work from home or in between training sessions. And it just really blows my mind with what and how impacts us and drives us into these one lane places that gets us stuck. So we're unsticking this year. And I'll let you in on some astrology soon, but I wanted to speak that real quickly. As for the podcast, getting back to the subject on the matter, the podcast is going to get a new intro. I know the one I made. I really enjoy it. It's really story like and different than any other podcast intro I've ever heard. And that is why I was so like proud and like yes, this is it. But I realize it does not give you as the listener, if you're new, what the podcast is about and how it will impact your day or improve your life or what to expect even. So it's going to be clear. It's going to be professional in a playful way. It's going to be a beautiful mixture. Basically, I'm shifting it. So if you're part of the newsletter, you see that the newsletter is for healthy lifestyle enthusiasts. That was something I had in my Instagram bio when I was 18, 19, 20, 21 years old. For a hot minute, healthy lifestyle enthusiast was in the bio. And I reflected on that, and that is really a way that I do want to identify myself as and continue to identify as moving forward. Because a healthy lifestyle enthusiast can look like so many different things depending on what you're passionate about. And so, this is a podcast that is going to be for those who are striving to live that healthy lifestyle enthusiasm, to hear of stories from others, like minded individuals within the outside world, the outdoor industry, within people who have, and places who have created their own symbolism, their own tribe, their own context, and who follow this new narrative of what it means to be soul and heart centered and aligned versus externally centered and aligned. Your discernment, what you follow. It's really going to be about expanding your relationship with yourself, with the other, knowing that the one with you and your divine source, your spirit, that is the one that's going to unlock your magnetism and how you use your polarity with others around you. I knew I was tapping into this all along, but I've never spoken it clearer than I have now and today. It's also going to continue inquiring and reciting my own understanding and view of the astrology that's going on universally, more in an evolutionary way, as well as incorporating cyclical living. There's a beautiful human I spoke with this past year, 2022, about cyclical living and what that all meant, and how impactful that journey in itself for me has been. I mean, going from a year of chronic vaginal infections and issues after getting out of a long relationship and coming back to my identity and my power, my memories, not abandoning myself. Although I was, I'd done the work, some of the work, the beginning of the work. The work is never done. It will never be done. It will never be done. It won't. If you're someone who thinks that you can get enlightened and you change and you turn into this dragon warrior and that realism in life, the physical realistic things don't matter to you, it's bullshit and wrong. Because you still are on the 3D plane. You're still on Earth. And you can be enlightened just by accepting what is in your moment in this time and knowing that you in that tree, you're one and the same. It's like lowercase letters everywhere. It's not capital I and capital letter T for tree separating you from one another. You are the tree. You are the curtain. You are the fridge. Are we not a reflection of whoever we're talking to or whoever is talking to us? Right now, I have a client who's my ideal client, and we reflect each other very much. I see it every time I talk to her. We converse, we correlate, we plan, we hop on Zoom calls. I just keep going, wow, Isabelle, you're watching your own expansion. So if you want more, you are ready. Open it up, open the door, let the floodgates in. You are the one resisting. You are the one not allowing. You are the one dodging and abandoning ship. And so it's very interesting in this way that we get to be mystical and realistic all at once because it is the same pancake. So that's my new narrative. That's what I'm calling it. And to give a little bit more context, a big push of this was coming back to when I was graduating high school. Pivotal point in my life because was I going to go to college? Undecided, not knowing what I wanted, going against my feeling of not feeling like I was ready because I didn't have the money? Or was I going to go explore, have a gap year, get to learn more about me and who I was and what I wanted and what I truly wanted to learn and expand and know about? And I felt like I was defying the social norm when I chose Colorado over college. Yes, I was going to go to college in Colorado, but when my parents were like, hey, pulling the slip, we ain't paying for that. You know that, right? I was like, hell no, I'm not paying for it either. You think I have the money? Y'all are the adults who have jobs. I thought you had this under control. But, and that was a huge pivotal learning point in my life. I'm so happy it happened that way. Would it have been a blessing? Yes, but I would be a completely different person on a completely different timeline, living a completely different life. And so I'm really happy with how it turned out. Thanks, Mom and Dad, for pulling that slip on me. Because money, there's more where that came from. That's my new mantra for this year. There is more where that came from. And so I really want to use this format of education, self development, expansion, the podcast as a platform to encourage you to continue to follow your passions. Because if we're not following our passions, we're screwing up the timeline. We're not breaking any ancestral lineage curses or loop patterns or behaviors or ways of being that are forced upon us by the patriarchy, that are outrageous and really unapplicable to most females. This was a masculine heavy world for the last 50 years. The energy has been so masculine. So we're switching it up. We're coming into the feminine era for the last 2 years. We had the big old shift of the world, and then we had a lot of people spending time on themselves, waking the fake up, going, hey, there's more to life than my little bubble, my little circle, what I got going on. And we need more of this. We just do. So if you're here for it, thank you. Sending you a lot of love and big hugs because it takes a lot to say yes to this journey. In 2019, 2020, when I was making this transition and learning so much and soaking in all of this knowledge and learning astrology and learning about ancestral trauma, childhood trauma, healing mine as I could as I went, diving full head in, just going all in. It was abruptive to my nervous system because I wasn't being led or guided by someone who understood a map or trajectory that would be supportive, nourishing, versus depleting, and as if you were standing on the edge of the tallest cliff on the world all the time and you knew you weren't going to fall off the cliff, but you were just always stuck in this like fear, excuse me, and over stressed situation. Man, it was tough. And so it led to some breakdowns, breakthroughs, because I wasn't a car, I wasn't losing wheels left and right. But maybe you felt similar or you've gone through similar. I can only speak from my own experience, and so I use myself with lowercase I so that I can speak from my own stories and hope that you can find yourself in my words in your own ways. And so that you can depict your own storyline and rewrite it to make sense for you and who you are becoming, not who you were. Because who you were is dead. You can't go back. You can only move forward. Forward momentum. It's a very beautiful thing. And like being stuck in the past isn't going to help anybody achieve anything faster. So, welcome to the Isabelle Wellman Show. It's going to be a beautiful time. That name change will happen in January. So, I will continue each week as I release the podcast. I'll release a couple more in between here in the end of January, mid-January, and I'll remind you the name is changing. So if you look for Incredible Conversations by February, you're not going to find the show. But thankfully, you know my name, so you can find it again. So I gave you my why. That we're merging and we're letting mysticism and realism merge and be seen as one with the honor and the integrity that it deserves to be seen as and accepted as and witnessed as, that we're going to call in. I'm setting the intention to call in like-minded souls who rippled similar energy, who want to learn more, who want to feel success in this way, in this path. Not in like, I am achieving, but just in the, bliss. And I am constantly accepting the moment as it is, rerouting, witnessing the contrast, taking that contrast, the situations you do not like, and picking what you do like and making the pivots and the switches so that you can go from the contrast back into the blissful state of, yes, I love this. Come to me, experience, manifestation. And along with that, calling in the souls who desire to take on a lifestyle of knowing how to help yourself. Radical responsibility. Hello. Whoopsh. Nice little smack in the face. But it is to know that when you're stuck in the mind, which is going to happen, I don't care how many flipping hours of meditation you have done, you may be very well versed and detach and observe and witness and can live in this way that feels so peaceful and as if you are surrounded by a bubble of silence that is just ah. Yet there are moments where you're gonna get slapped with the monkey mind. And it's gonna come in, ooh, ah, ah, and it's going to deliberately take you out of that experience to teach you a lesson, to challenge you, to test where you're at, to see if you can go even deeper into that. But first, you got to pass the test. So, knowing, hey, what do I need in this moment to get out of the mind into the body and take the karmic lesson with me? So, that looking like doing holopathic breath work, taking a cold plunge, getting in the sauna, doing a little infrared therapy, giving yourself a massage, asking someone for a massage, communicating in a community setting in real life, getting yourself in clothes and fabrics that work for your skin that are not loaded with synthetics or toxic materials full of plastics that are leaching into the body without a proper cleansing ceremony or ritual 1, 2, 3 times a year. Knowing that there are ways that we can manipulate the physical, that we can train the mental to be more resilient. And so I'm really calling in those folks. And that means me, lowercase Isabelle, is also one of those folks who is going to be practicing, incorporating these changes into my lifestyle. I already do most of them, but I could do more. I could say yes more. I could take that radical responsibility and go, yep, doing this. Yep, doing that. Not gonna death scroll. Not going to get lost in my thoughts. Not going to compare because it's so easy to compare. If it feels really easy to get trapped in and lost in, you know you're there. So I already gave you the tools. You know how to get out. Talk therapy as well. Talking with someone you trust. So many great options in the world. Journaling if you don't feel like you trust anybody. You gotta start by trusting yourself first. And, lastly, calling in an orbit of people who want to understand and adopt that you don't have to work your ass off. You don't have to make it challenging in order to have success. Yes, you do need to work. Yes, you do get to take action. Yes, you do get to take your impulses, your desires, your feelings. You get to follow them, and that leads you to what you're doing in this world. You get to work what you want to work towards. You get to do all this. And it's always a choice. It is calling in an audience, a community who's ready to follow their wants, follow their dreams, their passions, knowing what it takes to become that passion, because it's truly an identity shift at that point. And that is where we're going. So, welcome to the club, to the tribe, to the community. And now we're going to talk briefly about, excuse me, reflections. So, 2023, baby. What's going on? What's going on? What's going on is I'm handing you a permission slip, just like in school. What kind of permission slip, you may ask? One where you can begin to relax because you're probably a go getter, a high achiever, walking a path of introspection or self advancement, or really nailing in the mind, body, soul alignment. And it can feel very impeding when there's so many resources and so many consumerism funnels coming into your face. And you have so many desires and so many pieces you want to incorporate into your life. But y'all, 2023 is asking us to take your motherfucking time. Take your time. Said the astrologer. Permission slip to take your time. You might be just blank staring at me like, Isabelle, we don't have enough time. That's something that gets to be reworked in your mind. You have plenty of time. You have ample time. You have more time than you know what to do with. Try putting that shoe on the right foot and see what happens. I really, really encourage this putting the foot on the brake notion, even when it feels a little counterintuitive or counterproductive. If you're feeling the fire and you have a clear path and you know where you're going, great. Revise, reevaluate, take your time. But if you really feel like you're claustrophobic in this, oh my God, it's that time of year and everyone has their resolutions and you're spiraling, stop. Just stop. You do not need to be a part of the herd. Yo, defy the social normality. Get right by yourself. It feels so much better. Because why do we have to be so productive all the time? Who taught us that? Where does that come from? Is that a trauma locked inside our little body? Check in with yourself. Because if we're speeding through life and devouring the constant flow of consumerism, physical, technological, in that world of illusion that is social media, we are actually hindering ourselves from personal growth and authentic development. Because there are studies and research out there that show you are now becoming more like the people you follow. You see that person with the smoothie, you're more likely to make that smoothie. And then you are being that person. And that is something that's outside of yourself that you are wearing and putting on, which is not always a bad thing. But if you are not consciously asking yourself, hey, is that what my body needs and my body wants and my heart wants and my mind needs? That is where the problem is, the line in the sand. So, let me dish out some astrology because that's how I navigate life that feels best for me and how we're approaching the transition from 22 to 23 and why it might feel so bumpy. So, welcome back, Mercury retrograde and Mars still retrograde in Gemini. This is a little bit about each. So, for this year, we have 4 Mercury retrogrades a year. And we, as in the collective, as in other astrologers, if you're an astrologer, you probably know that the inner planets are the ones that the retrograde period does affect the personal being. It really does energetically shift us and challenge us in certain ways, which are all growing pains. Whereas outer planets, not as crucial to note the retrogrades of, and those can be seen more as a collective shift or a collective happening, whereas the collective may be revising or going backwards or what have you. So, Mercury retrograde in Capricorn. 3 of the 4 retrogrades are going to be in earth signs. And I even think the last one of the year is the same as this one, where we're in Capricorn and Mercury will be in retrograde from 23 to 24. But don't quote me on that. However, this Mercury retrograde in Capricorn is asking us, in my opinion, to visit all of our internal earthly and realistic matters. Anything in the 3D, baby. And these are the things that revolve around Capricorn. So, your finances, the truth about your ties to family and relationships that you hold dear. Who needs to be cut off? Who is sucking too much milk from mama's tit? Let's be honest. Who's getting too much? Who's being a hog? Who doesn't deserve the energy because they're not giving you receptacle energy back? Understand your bubble. Material desires, making time to be outside so you can connect with yourself, with your source, to set intentions, structure that works for you, as in systems that you can use over and over, repeat, and they use and they sustain you. They do not deplete you. Success and taking the time to define this in your own words. Even if you've done this in the past, do it again. It doesn't hurt you. You're a new person. Every day you change and you become new. So why are you trying to fit yourself into an old box? You're saying, nah, I'm the same. Really, honestly ask yourself, am I the same? And if you are, okay, but hard to believe. Going on. Self-trust. Really. Do you follow through? Or are you complaining about not getting what you want? What practical approaches, quote unquote, are and aren't working for you? So, again, similar to systems. Collaboration. Who are you teaming up with? Are you teaming up with people, organizations, alliances that are in alignment with you in your mission, in your goals, in your list of, does this make the cut for being in my life? Or could you be better in that area? The long game and living in the gain. The long game. What are you doing on this for? How long is this going to last? Is this a lifestyle? Is this a temporary high? Are you living in the gain, as in you already have everything you need? You can appreciate everything you already have. You can see where you've already made progress compared to where you were before. Or are you comparing yourself to external sources? That person, that friend, that company. And then we move into Mars retrograde in Gemini. So this can look like the balance in your response to the internal and external world around you. Because if we're responding with too much aggression, too quick, too hard, we're gonna sting other people. We're gonna hurt other people. We may hurt our chances and opportunities because we're ramrodding. That's my favorite word. We're ramrodding into buildings and just blowing up. And it doesn't give anyone the chance to understand where we're coming from. Or are we slowly moving in like we're riding on the PCH and a beautiful motorcycle, Triumph, and we're taking those corners nice and easy. We're enjoying the breeze through our hair. We're hugging on to that sexy somebody in front of us who's driving so we can take in the view. Really, this is what this Mars retrograde in Gemini has been about. It's been going on now for 7 months. So, this correlates with your inner values when it comes to giving your energy and where you give your energy. How your energy aligns with outer opportunity. Confusion that may arise on the power of your no, because if you don't know how to say no, you don't know how to say yes. Slower pace than what feels natural or what you desire, because maybe you want to go, 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 and you want the results and you want them yesterday, but that's not the flow of the game right now. Maybe mishap in communications, mishap in travel, mishap in when we arrive or our estimation or what gets in our way of getting to our destination. Required transparency on all levels and radical decision making. So, Mercury will go direct again January 28th, with the shadow period ending February 23rd. And Mars, she will go direct January 12th, with its shadow period ending March 15th. So, I just threw in a new word for you, shadow period. What the F is that? So, a shadow period or a retroshade is something that happens after every time a retrograde ends, or the planet, excuse me, goes direct again. Forward momentum. because retrograde, retroshade, backwards. So you may have experienced the retroshade on your own already unconsciously. And it's basically where you can see the hardships and the hiccups you may have experienced with a clearer and calmer approach. As in, you're out of the situations, now you're sitting on the couch and you turn the TV on and it just replays the last 2 to 3 to 4 weeks. And you're like, oh, yeah, yep, I remember that. That felt like this. That was like that. I could have done this differently. That would have been this, that, and the other thing. And you can also relate it to as if you had gone out partying and you just got blacked out drunk and you don't remember anything that happened. That was the Mercury retrograde or the retrograde era. And then that next day is the retroshade, and you're like, oh gosh, I regret all of these things. And that's the time you clean up. That's the time you text back the exes you should never have texted in the first place. It's the time you really release whatever needs releasing. You communicate, you share your honesty if you may have fibbed or lied, and you really lay it all out there with the understanding that you cannot change anybody's response. And you cannot predict anybody's response. You cannot assume anybody's response. And if you are, that means you're a control freak, you little weirdo. You're trying to control your life. You're trying to assume what will happen, which, if you've listened to the podcast for a while, you already heard the podcast episode about the law of assumption and how accurate that shit is. And that you are literally manifesting that into your life because you are stuck in a behavioral cycle. If you're watching the YouTube, I am pointing aggressively at the camera with my blue marker because you're responsible. That's Capricorn, baby. So, in this integration period, clean it up. You got this. And here are a couple of words that can help guide you on this cleansing mission for your introspective activities. It's all about Riri and not Rihanna, but reflect, revise, revamp, reevaluate, relevant, respond or response, recovery, remember, responsibility, recollect, all of the re's, baby. Because if you have seen any astrology post or have listened to me, you know that retrogrades are introspective, heavy self-work eras of the year. That is when you go in and then you get to come back out, clean it up, integrate it, carry on. And if it was that easy, it'd be great. But we all know that looking back and witnessing what needs the clarification, cleansing, and plain old honesty can be a little meh. So it's okay. We move with grace and we accept, first and foremost, once and for all, that we can release when we choose the behavioral pattern that we are observing, that we are witnessing, that isn't serving us. You can kiss it goodbye. As long as you have the caveat that you need to know and you need to follow through with treating yourself with the utmost love and respect, knowing that you're safe in your body and you're doing the best you can. And if you are actively going after cleaning up your mess, you are doing your best. Cleaning up your mess, you're doing your best. Cleaning up your mess, you're doing your best. See, it rhymes, so it has to be real. And you, beautiful soul, are the one with the power, as I'm always saying, to choose the decision. You get to decide because they're going to be a regret either way. When you pick one, regret. When you pick the other, regret. So what regret can you not live without? And it's going to alter your life path if you choose the one that's different, maybe uncomfortable, maybe takes a little bit of practice or a couple of cycles to witness, observe, know you're going through it, and then choose differently. That's how I went through it was not one and done. Absolutely not. So, with these retrogrades being accounted for, I highly encourage you to allow yourself to take January and February and even a little bit of March to take conscious inventory of your life and truly soak in what 2022 did and did not do for you. If you follow me on the gram at Isabelle Wellman, then you saw these journaling prompts, but I will say them all here. These are a really great place to start. If you have something to write on, grab it. If you got a phone or a journal, here you go. So, first one, how did 2022 start for me? 2, what was a New Year's resolution I had for 2022? Did it pan out? What were 5 moments that made me believe in myself? 4, what will I do differently in 2023, knowing what I know now? 5, 5 people I want to give lots of love to for their friendship and support. 6, what advice can I give myself after my 2022 experience? 7, where did I grow most as an individual? And you could also add, where did I retract? Because that's another baby. 8, what's my word of the year? And so those are a couple of the journaling prompts that I encourage you to write through. I shared my responses on my stories, and it's just really great to go back and reflect because that's the era we're in: reflection, contemplation, witnessing, observing. So, if you're able to, if you're safe to, get into a comfortable position. We're going to go through some breath work and then drop into our meditation. So we're going to go through the tranquilizing breath work, which is inhale for 7, hold for 6, exhale for 8. And we're going to repeat that. I'm going to allow myself to follow whatever feels right for me. You can add or you can take away, stop wherever you need to, and just stay in the meditative state, stay in your silence or in your body. And then I will guide us through the meditation. So again, if you're safe to, if you feel safe to, if you're available, close your eyes. If you're in a car, please be aware of your surroundings, but just tune in with your body. When you're ready, inhale 7. Hold for 6. Exhale for 8. Inhale 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Pause for 6, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Exhale for 8. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale for 7. Pause for 6. Exhale for 8. Inhale for 7. Allow the shoulders to drop away from the ears. Allow your belly to expand. Pause for 6. Witness the stillness in your body. Inhale for 8. Exhale for 8, excuse me. Empty yourself out completely. Inhale for 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Pause for 6, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Exhale for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Continue this breath if you'd like to. Otherwise, come into a natural breath that is deep, expansive, and allows you to connect with your beingness. Allow any yawns, allow any sensations such as an itch without actually going to itch it. Instead, I encourage you to go to that spot. Maybe it's the inner right ear. Go to that spot and give name to the sensation. It feels prickly and a little hot, and I notice how itchy it is. I notice how pokey it is, and I breathe into that area and take an inhale. Breathe it into the right ear where it feels picky and hot, and exhale the sensation out of the body. Witness if the sensation is still there or if it slowly subsides away. Allow yourself to do an inventory. We pull up or sit up through the crown of your head. Relax the eyes, the cheeks, the mouth, the tongue, the jaw. You let the ears draw away. You let the shoulders draw away from the ears, excuse me. You let them sink deeper and deeper. You allow your collarbones to spread to the sides of the room or vehicle you may be in. You find your front rib cage, the bottom of the front rib cage, and you draw it down slightly as to prevent your chest from sticking out and keeping your spine straight or neutral by drawing the tailbone down towards the ground, whether you're sitting, standing, or laying. If you're laying, they would draw down towards the back of the heels. Go over the arms and witness the energy, any heaviness, any lightness. And relax deeper. Allow the buttocks to take up space as if your hips were melting off of your body onto the floor, getting heavy and opening up like a flower in the spring. You travel down your thighs. Allow them to relax. You visit your knees. You feel if they're stiff, if they feel fluid, if there's any pain. You acknowledge that pain as it is. You continue down the legs of the lower leg, the calf and the shin. And you press down through the four corners of the feet and lift up through the arch of the foot. Connect with your breath again. As you allow the image of who you wish to transform into rise in your mind. Who do you wish to turn into in 5 years, 10 years from now? What do you wish to have in your orbit? Once you have a vision in your mind, come back to the present moment and witness who you are now. What are the differences in who you are now versus who you'd wish to become? What tendencies, traits, and habits do you in the future behold that would be new to who you are now? Go ahead and name them, or feel them, or watch them play out in your mind's eye. Next, I'd like you to imagine what habits would need to be replaced or removed from your life. And perhaps what triggers also need to be acknowledged, accepted, and removed from your life. You can get rid of the substance, of the parasite. However, if you continue to visit the place in which you found that substance or that parasite, whether it be a place, a person, it will always find a way to come back. It is in the removal process that you truly cleanse your slate of what is not desired in your body any longer. Can you now witness yourself going through at least and only 2 minutes of attempting this new behavior that you would need to incorporate into your day? Maybe that looks like waking up, brushing your teeth, and letting that be your cue to go put your running shoes on and do an active warm up. And if after 2 minutes you wish to no longer continue, you succeeded. You made the 2 minute benchmark. Then you go and make breakfast. Maybe after breakfast, you cue another new habit. Maybe that is reading a book, and eventually for 90 minutes. But for today, maybe that starts with two. And perhaps you read for the 2 minutes. And then suddenly, something comes up and you do not want to read anymore. Congratulations, you succeeded. It is witnessing yourself in these tiny forward momentum acts that will get you to who you want to be and the identity you wish to take on. It is about holding yourself to radical self discipline and retraining your mind by telling yourself lazy people or people who are not runners do X, Y, and Z. Perhaps your old traits or the parasites that you have had to let go of. And I get to be a healthy, avid runner I get to transform into an individual who reads for 90 minutes a day and is among the 20%, if it is that high, who reads a book a week or two books a month, or that be reading or listening. Now, I encourage you to imagine what blocks may come up in your way within your mind. As you continue to breathe, allow in old thought loops and patterns that you used to rely on or tell yourself. Welcome them in and accept them for what they are completely. Know that you have a choice in this moment to alter your life. Do you choose to continue to repeat those patterns because you do not believe you are worthy, because you do not have the self confidence? Or will you choose a new path? A path that is lighter, that is understanding that you can have everything you want and more. That by having self confidence, self trust, self belief, you are helping everyone else around you, and that you will accomplish your goals every time you correct yourself. When you know your worth, you know that you are able to make it through any hardship, any hiccup, or any journey towards your destination. You will be less likely to fall off the path or turn around because you do not believe you can go another step further. And instead, you may take breaks where you simply pull out your lawn chair and sit in the middle of the path where you are, not turning back, but taking a rest or a pause from moving forward to integrate, reflect, and understand where you're headed, and if you're still in alignment or if you should take a new path. It is not the outcome in which you seek, it is the experience and the emotional pleasures you desire. I encourage and invite you to witness that same image and vision of who you are in the future, who you wish to be 1, 5, 10 years from now. How are they already a part of you? What parts of you can you see in the year version, the year now, from now version of you? What do you already have that you want from them? Maybe it looks differently than what you've imagined in your mind's eye. Allow that to be okay. Know that you are ready for the more that you have already envisioned. Yet you cannot get there from thinking you do not have it. It is the belief in knowing and appreciation and acknowledgement of witnessing that you already have that in some essence, and that the aligned actions that you take get you closer to those moments and to those identities 1, 5, 10 years from now. When you are ready, inhale into the body, expanding the belly wide like a balloon. Pause at the top. Inhale a little bit more. Pause at the top. Inhale a little bit more. Hold and release. Come back to a natural breath. And when you're ready, you can begin to wiggle the body and the fingers and the toes, or you can continue to sit in this meditation and allow yourself to connect deeper with who you are becoming. Wherever you're at in this moment, thank you so much for joining me today. Thank you for being a part of the world at this time. We are in a great revolution. My prayer for 2023 is may we realize the strength we have in community and the love that can heal the collective level of stress and fear on this planet. May we open our hearts, support our neighbors, and witness where we must come back to our divine knowing. I pray we reconnect with Mother Earth, the oceans, and the creatures of our world. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the soon to be Isabelle Wellman, the podcast. And I am signing out to you from the Incredible Conversations podcast. Have a great rest of your evening.